Review Productions brings you classic entertainment in the modern world and in a vintage manner with the cast keeping the golden age of radio alive in A Day in the Life of Hollywood 1930s. With Dominic Breckenridge as Betty Gray and Jasmine Austin as Rachel Ellis Hagen. It's breakfast time in Los Angeles where we find Rachel sitting by the window at the cafe on the corner where she and Betty Gray watch man, woman, children, dogs, cats, and jaguars alike pass by the window. What? Is Josephine Baker in town? Paris, huh? Okay. Well, let's join Rachel as I head over to the cafe myself now.
Did the same thing I told her, but she wouldn't listen to me. Absolutely, Marge. You're so right, Marge. Like I said, if anyone should tell her, it should be you, Marge. All right, Marge. Talk to you later. That Marge thinks she knows so much.
Gabbing on the job again, Daisy.
Hey, girl. Just a couple of eggs scrambled, a piece of toast, and a cup of coffee for me, Daisy.
Hey, Betty, look at you. You're all dolled up. Where's he this time?
I'm going down to the casting office to see if I can talk Murray into giving me the number of a guy he knows who knows a guy who's going to cast for the principal role in a new musical on Broadway.
Broadway? Why, that's big time. But I thought you wanted to break into movies, Betty.
I want to break into acting, period. Whether it's on film or on my feet, it makes no difference which.
Well, that's logical. Who's the big one you have to see?
A fella named Melvin. He's at his Hollywood estate for a few days with his casting director, Paul Anker. Thought I was going to say Anchor, didn't you? You know, for the longest time, I thought it was put your hand on my shoulder, and until someone pulled my dress tail and said, why would anybody put their hand on your shoulder? And I said, to give him a good old bear hug. Right. Carry on.
Melvin, you mean the Melvin Mitchell?
You hit the nail on the head with the cast iron skillet. What? Where I come from, cast iron goes a heck of a lot long ways further than a hammer ever would. Why else do you think they're called the Brooklyn Dodgers?
Speaking of Dodgers, isn't that Billy McCray across the street? Besides the mail drop? He still owes me money for that date he took me on and I had to pay for.
Wait a minute, Rachel, wait a minute. You better grab my purse over there and take it with you.
Thanks, Betty. Don't wait for me. It may be a few hours before they release me after I get through with that Billy.
No worries. I've got a little cash in my wallet. Feel free to use it if bail is under $5.
See you around then. See you around.
Ginger Rogers may be in the money in Gold Diggers of 1933, but you'll be in vogue with the new brand Modern Matte Nail Polish. With a sparkle and a shine that could strike the blind, Modern Matte Nail Polish takes you from the boardroom to the ballroom. No more drib-drab color for a girl on the go. Live the modern life with Modern Matte Nail Polish. Our in-house audience stay after the broadcast for a sample all your own. And for those at home, stop into your nearest salon for the nail polish that has every modern girl talking. Modern Matte.
Henry, have you seen Betty around the set? Over by the dance floor? Oh, I see her. Thanks, Henry. Oh, and by the way, if you want to gain notice by the studio bosses, lifting weights by your teeth is a pretty fascinating talent, but it's hardly something new. Watch the Robert Benchley short before the movie at the theater downtown. Try something original, like lifting weights with your teeth while diving off the diving board. Haven't seen that movie. Well, good luck to you, Henry.
Betty, I got a job for us. What is it? A walk-on part, principal character, extra, grip? No, cutting grass. Have you snuff? What do I look like? I'm not cutting no grass for nobody.
Did I mention it was for Mr. Melvin Mitchell himself?
Run down to Baker's Hardware Store, Rachel, and buy us some gloves with. And don't forget to get us some swimsuits. I'll work on the transportation funds. It seems you went right through my wallet.
I didn't. Billy did. I was so angry I didn't have time to take the skillet out of your purse. I hit him with the whole thing. Before I knew what happened, the skillet went straight through the fabric.
By the looks of it, so did Billy. That's nothing, Rachel. I've got a few more sets to go over before they send me home for the day.
But Betty, why do we need swimsuits?
3 reasons. 1, this is Los Angeles. 2, there are more than 2 ways to catch someone's attention. And 3rd, if you have to ask what those 2 ways are, you're not fit for the name female. Now, off you go, Rachel. I may be a background dancer now, but if I play my cards right and the lead dancer, Lisa, breaks a leg, I'll be a leg up. I said that out loud, didn't I? Looking for something to dress up your nails? Why stick to the same dull color day after day, week after week? No, that wasn't a question. Now is the time to be chic. With modern Matte nail polish, you'll fit right into the jazz age with its sparkling shine with just 1 coat. So the next time you go out for a night to paint the town, be sure you're using modern Matte nail polish. Rachel, I didn't ask for much. All I sent you out for was a couple of pair of gloves and 2 swimsuits.
I came back with the gloves.
Yes. And a pair of hip boots and some gardening aids.
Well, what do you want me to do? It was a hardware store, and they said they didn't carry swimsuits.
No kidding. For as good as these do, I've done better with a hospital gown.
Well, if you think that'll work better.
Don't you move. You stay right there. That's all we need. A couple of girls in a hospital gown. Not only will they probably think we've escaped from the nearest asylum, there'd be one heck of a draft when you try to get away. The things you put up with when you're trying to make a name for yourself.
Think of a better way.
That's not the name I'm trying to make.
Listen, are you going to stand there complaining, or are we going to go over to Mr. Mitchell's house to cut his grass? Dennis said to be over there at 2 o'clock sharp.
Dennis? Do you mean Dennis Hagen?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
What's the matter, Betty?
I can't believe you got me hooked up with Dennis Hagen. Why, his name is all over town.
So?
On every telephone pole, street corner, in every neighborhood, with his picture attached under. Wanted, walking or running, usually running, seeing he's chased out of every entertainment establishment he steps in. If you see him walking, look out for the trick. You're probably the joke.
He's not as bad as all that, Betty. I've seen him walking around town plenty of times.
Oh, yeah? Where?
In dark alleys at night through the Hollywood hills.
If Mama would have told me there'd be days like this, Papa would have sold tickets. Come on, Rachel, shake a leg, because I have a funny feeling that's what we'll be doing when the dogs catch us. And a strong suspicion I won't be laughing, even in the face of Cary Grant.
So far, so good.
Yeah, at least we made it past the gate. Wow, what a yard.
You're telling me, gee, Betty, there's more than what I had accounted for.
I should have figured Melvin Mitchell would have had a house larger than William Randolph Hearst.
Or is it Charles Foster Kane?
Same thing. Point being, if I'd known it was going to be this large of a yard, I would have told you to rip 2 lawnmowers. This will take us all day and well into the night, even between the 2 of us.
I could go down to the drugstore and call Dennis to see if he'll swing by and help us.
No. Let's just leave well enough alone. He may have gotten us this job, but I don't want to press our luck into suck.
Looking around, Betty, it doesn't look like the grass needs any cutting.
Sure it does, Rachel. Well, look at this. The grass comes up way past my feet.
Oh, that's how you tell? Huh?
Oh, sure. this the modern age, Rachel? Things have changed since you were a little girl.
I don't mean when I was a child, Betty. I mean when I left home.
And how long ago was that?
A year ago, when you and I decided to rent a room at the boarding house.
Well, the modern age is moving past, Rachel. Time's not a wasting for nobody. Now, let's get this mower to work, and I can trim the edges. Hand me the trimmer out of the case, Rachel.
Here you go, Betty. You can cut the edges with this.
What's this supposed to be? This looks like a pair of scissors.
It is.
And what do you expect me to do with a pair of scissors?
Trim the edges.
Of what? Your hair? Because if you think I'm going to hightail it around this monstrosity of a park lawn with a pair of scissors to trim the edges of this grass, you're sadly mistaken.
It's all they had, Betty.
Rachel, just what hardware store did you go to? Didn't you go to Baker's like I told you?
Not exactly. I ran into Dennis on my way over, and he said he could get us the equipment on our list a lot quicker and a lot cheaper than I could, and to leave it all to him.
How much quicker and how much cheaper did you get it, Rachel? A nickel and a nail later?
How did I know there wasn't a lawn trimmer in this case?
I don't know. Maybe that the weight of the case didn't match the weight of the item it should have been carrying.
You don't say.
Darn that Dennis Hagen.
It's Hagen.
Whatever his name is. Well, there isn't much we can do about it now, Rachel. You handle the yard and I'll start around the side of the house with the scissors.
I'll do it, Betty. It's my fault we have to use those anyway.
No. Leave this to me, Rachel. We can't afford any more of your Charlie McCarthy moments. There isn't enough wood around.
I have an underlying feeling you're trying to insult me, Betty, but I can't prove it.
Then don't underline it. Just cross it out and move on with the grass.
All right, here I go. Meet you at the finish line in 6 hours.
This will be the longest race the Santa Anita Handicap will ever see. You take the high road and I'll take the low road, and I'll meet you in the Derby in the morning. Phew! It's gotten awfully dark out. We've been at this grass going on 7 hours now. I haven't seen one trace of Mr. Mitchell, or any staff for that matter. Wonder if anyone's even in the house. Gosh, 7 hours. Where did the time go? Oh, yeah, I remember now. I took 2 hours out to survey the premises. May have been a long walk around the property, but it sure saved time to tack the scissors onto my shoes and drag my foot through the edges of the grass. I dug up some potholes and some dirt along the way, but they can always plant flowers in the exposed soil. I'm sure they'll thank me for it later. Now the fine Rachel. Oh, there she is. Hey, Rach. How you coming along, girl?
I'm not sure. I lost sight of the lawnmower when the sweat kept dripping in my eyes, and I lost track of my path when the sun went down, and wet was under my feet, though I think I'd done a clean job.
Yeah. It feels nice and flat. Well, we'd better pack up our things and knock on the door for our payment.
You know, Betty, before the heat and the night got to me, I swear it didn't seem like there was any life in that house.
I know what you mean. It seemed pretty empty to me. Let's go knock on the door and see, huh? Look through the window. You see anybody coming?
Not a soul.
Anybody?
Mm-mm.
I can't figure it out. You sure this is the right address, aren't you?
Now you ask me.
What?
I mean, of course I'm sure.
Oh. Then I don't understand it.
Look, Betty, the front lights just came on. Wow. The lights line the whole yard and the driveway. What a sight.
Yikes! So is the lawn, Rachel. Look at this yard. What have you done?
What have I done? Look at the edges. They look like Charles been taking up dirt and bullfights.
And the grass looks like it's been swept for the track at the Kentucky Derby.
What grass?
My point exactly. Let's get out of here quick. We're lucky if nobody sees us.
Yeah, we'll be even luckier if no one will notice the lawn.
Rachel, that's just about as likely as a hairstylist cutting all your hair off and not noticing you're bald when you look in the mirror.
Let's just get out of here. Hi-ho, Silver.
Never mind Silver, grab Lightning, because we need to be out of here with a streak of light.
Well, Betty and I decide what to do next. Here's a clip from Betty's news flash that aired last night on radios across the nation. Here she is, folks, Betty Gray.
Hello, hi, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We take a moment to transport you to the other side of the globe as we travel internationally to Paris without leaving home. But no worries, we'll carry you right back to the US of A as soon as we can without delay. For the moment, all I ask of you is to get into the mood, mind, and matter of the 1930s glamour. And you don't need to be as mad as a hatter to believe you're in another place in time. Breaking news. 1925, at the height of the jazz era in Paris, a sensational cast of musicians and dancers from Harlem assembled as La Revue Negra, exploding on the stage of the Théâtre des Champs-Élysées. Opening night, attended by the fashionable Café Society of Paris, amongst unforgettable performances, a particular young woman was vividly described by New Yorker correspondent Janet Flammer. She made her entry entirely nude, except for a pink flamingo feather between her limbs. She was being carried upside down and doing the splits on the shoulders of a black giant, Joe Alex. Mid-stage, he paused, and with his long fingers holding her basket-wise around the waist, swung her in a slow cartwheel to the stage floor, where she stood, as she was an unforgettable female ebony statue. A scream of salutation spread through the theater. Whatever happened next was unimportant. The two specific elements had been established and were unforgettable. Her magnificent dark body, a new model that to the French proved for the first time that black was beautiful, and the acute response of the white masculine public in the capital of hedonism of all Europe, Paris. This woman would soon be known to the world as Josephine Baker. On the air now, straight out of or straight from, it doesn't really matter which, the Ziegfeld Follies comes to you on radio in the Ziegfeld Follies of the air. Known for its glitz, glamour, razzle-dazzle, dames and beauty, kicks and tricks, the show stopping Ziegfeld follows you from the bright lights of the stage to the ripping sounds of your radio box. Catch the Ziegfeld Follies of the air on April 3rd, 1932 at 8:30 p.m. before its new airtime takes place April 24th at 10:30 p.m. on the CBS radio stations. With host Eddie Dowling and orchestra leader Al Goodman, you can catch the voices and personalities such as Fanny Brice, Jack Pearl, Will Rogers, and Mr. Florence Ziegfeld himself, as well as his wife, actress Billie Burke. You recognize that voice. You've seen her face in 1933's Bundle of Blues, singing that haunting melody, Stormy Weather. She conquered vaudeville, toured the country as a dancer and vocalist in the Fanchon Marco Revue and the Shuffle Along Revue. Once a featured vocalist at the Cotton Club, she toured Australia in 1928 with Sonny Clay. Upon her return, she organized her own show and toured America, soon finding work with Earl Hines in 1930. It was then Ellington first heard her sing. Hiring her in February 1931, she quickly became a fixture of the orchestra sound, considered one of the finest singers of the golden age of jazz, known as the voice of Ellington. I'm speaking of Guillory, California's own Irie Anderson. That wasn't too bad of a trip, and I hope to take to the skies with you again real soon. So who knows where our conversations will take us on our next journey, perhaps to Cairo, the Atlantic, or to the moon. But one thing's for sure, no matter the hour of the time of day, all you have to do is knock on the door, and awaiting you will be me with a breath of entertaining facts, trivia, and news. Until next time, stay informed. Good night from Betty Gray.
Good morning, Betty. Any news in the paper about Mr. Mitchell's property?
No news in the paper. It's posted right on the paper.
Betty, you've always wanted to be on the front page of the Los Angeles Times.
There's some truth in that. But our names are nowhere to be mentioned.
What's the headline?
Imported grass goes from Kentucky blue to brown derby. The article says, Somewhere between the hours of 2 p.m. and 10 o'clock p.m., the homeowners of the Mitchell estate came home late last night to find their home vandalized. Mitchell told reporters when asked who could have done such a thing, he believed the suspect to be that of one Dennis Hagen. After a requested and confirmed restraining order against Mr. Dennis Hagen with his continued harassment in repeatedly trying to perform his break-a-leg act for Mr. Mitchell on any and every turning occasion, it seems the wannabe actor Dennis Hagen has stooped to this criminal act. Mr. Mitchell went on to say that if he ever get his hands on Mr. Hagen, his break-a-leg title won't just be the name of his act. It will be the cause of intent.
Awful. Dennis has put us in a terrible mess.
Says you. There's no mention of our names anywhere in this paper. And anyone who has set us up as cruelly as Dennis has deserves to pay the penalty.
You mean you're not going to come to Dennis's aid?
Oh, sure. I'll be the first one there with the kit when Mr. Mitchell gets through with him. And I'll only charge Dennis half of what he charged us on the broke-down equipment he sold you.
Yeah, and the other half. I'll charge him for the damages he made. That'll be enough to buy us those swimsuits and anonymously send a check to Mr. Mitchell for his lawn.
Sounds good to me. Although, what would we need the swimsuits for now?
I don't know, but as you always say, Betty, this is Los Angeles.
As the candlelight bulb says goodnight, our sponsors want us to remind you to buy Modern Maddie's nail polish. Don't just read about the modern women in the bookstore, see them in the fashion magazines. Be the modern jazz woman yourself. Remember, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. So swing over to your salon today to buy Modern Maddie's nail polish. We also remind you that all of the women's wardrobe worn in tonight's broadcast are provided by Dominique's Private Collection. In addition to myself, Dominique recommends Lady Ray, we heard the voices of Jasmine Lawson as Rachel Ella Kagan. Be sure to tune in next week, same time, same place. Until then, good night, everybody. This has been a Dominique production. Ciao, Bella. Okay. Oh, okay. Speaking of, but you caught my cue on the last one when we'll stand at the end. In addition to myself, let's see, we'll stand. Let's see, as the daily night club says good night, our sponsor lets us to remind you. Okay. Midway when I get into, we also remind you that all the women's wardrobe will be our cue to get up. Okay.
Wait, where am I introducing you?
Page 12.
No, I'm still here. How did you know there? How do you?
It's the Kool-Aid. Okay. Perfect.
Well, Betty. Okay. Well, Betty and I did notice what. Blah 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 blah. Oh, Betty and I.
We can't blame it on the guys because obviously we do this on our own too. We take a moment to transport you to the other side of the globe as we travel internationally to Paris without leaving home. Cut. 1 second. You know what? Go ahead and stand for that. Okay. Yeah, I just had to think about that, so go ahead.
Okay. Well, Betty and I decided what to do next. Here's a clip from Betty's news flash that aired last night's radio. While Betty and I decide what to do next, here's a clip from Betty's news flash that Cut.
Okay. You just wait a Kool-Aid? Okay.
You want to
Oh! Really? No, there's nothing left? Okay.
Okay. While Betty and I I decide what to do next. Here's a clip from Betty's news flash that aired on last night's radios across the nation. Radios across the nation.
Right.
Okay.
Bam.
Last night.
We also remind you that all of tonight's women's wardrobe was worn by. Okay. We also my shoe got caught in my dress. Sorry. Okay. Wait. One more time. Okay. I'll pick it up. 16. Okay.